What's up, everybody? I need to check and whenever somebody's in here, if y'all could check and see if my audio is good. I was having some audio issues before coming into here, so we'll see how it's looking. Let me pull my stuff up here. Sorry for the delay. I'm having audio issues, so if y'all can hear me, please tell me. That way I know I'm on. Let me see. Can y'all hear me? I'm gonna pull the comments up here. All right, cool. Thanks. Just making sure it's not it's showing on my end that there's no sound coming through my audio interface. So just didn't want to be talking here aimlessly to nobody. I feel like that's what I've been doing on my TV, talking to Marcus Satterfield all game to no avail. I'm upset. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, this is not I don't know, man. Same old same, Let's get into it. What is the story of the game, right? Going into the game, we came out of the Michigan State game with a lot of questions, especially offensively. It was atrocious. Harburg didn't look good. Come out of this game. Sorry, the sun is ridiculous in my face right now. Coming to this game, Harburg was playing poorly. A lot of people last week were talking about Chubba Purdy getting a shot, whatever. Of course, we knew Harburg was probably going to come in and be the guy this week. We all saw Harburg got banged up. Sims comes in, leads a couple of drives, pretty decent drives, just couldn't finish them off. And then the turnover bug bites again. Chubba comes in, drives us down the field. Satterfield inexplicably passes. Why are we not running the ball there? I do want to get into another reason why I think we should have ran the ball a lot more, and it's simply our offensive line play today was the best I've probably seen it all year. We should have been running way, way, way more between the tackles because it was there. The openings were there. When we ran between the tackles, we had success. I don't know what all this stuff is where we're trying to string it out to the edge and we're trying to get cute with this passing and stuff like that. But at what point do we realize that we don't have the quarterbacks to do all this cute stuff and we just got to stick to running the football? I mean, even Anthony Grant, like not getting touches, I still don't understand what's going on with the Anthony Grant situation and why he's still not getting touches. Because as we know, he's a very I get Emmett Johnson's the better back right now, but he's in there and he's physical. Anthony Grant is in there and he's able to come in and just kind of wear some guys down on that interior line. I don't understand why we're not using that to our advantage. And when our offensive line is playing well in the interior, why are we not bringing Grant in there to kind of wear them down just a little bit more? There's too much passing right now. We're not wearing them down. We're not trying to wear them down. It seemed like that was our system we wanted to do earlier in the season, and it's just kind of gone by the wayside and inexplicably. Emmett Johnson, 17 carries for 84 yards. Chubba, 3 carries for 33. Sims, 10 carries for 33. 40 total carries for 183 yards. Anthony Grant had 3 carries, man. 3 carries. And 3 carries for 9 yards. But the thing is, Anthony Grant's one of those that kind of gets a full head of steam going as the game wears on, right? So I don't know. I feel like there's definitely a use case to mix Anthony Grant in there with Emmett Johnson and Josh Fleeks because, they all bring something a little different. I think Emmett Johnson's very good all around. I think Anthony Grant is great just physicality wise. And then of course you got Fleeks out there who can just kind of make plays happen. I don't understand it. We're running the ball, yes, but it seems like the moment, for instance, when we're down there on the 5-yard line, it's third and goal. At the way this game was going, right? It's got to be. You're thinking we're inside the 5, we need 7, but the way this game was going, it's a 10-10 game. Like situationally, you would not need 7, right? Just the way the game script has gone. You got to coach by game script. And the way the game script has gone, they have 10 total points, right? What are the odds that they're going to drive down and score a touchdown if we kick the field goal there? So you're playing the percentages, right? Let's take the sure points. Tristan Alvano's, he's kicking well. He had some long kicks, and then he drilled that one today. It's a little scary on that one, but that's a chip shot for him. You have to just take your points where you can get them in a 10-10 game. It's it's not like Maryland was about to just go down there and put in a touchdown. If they do, you live with that. But you don't want to live with turning the ball over, coming away with 0 points, then coming down and kicking a field goal to win it like they did. And that to me is the most frustrating part, because you run on first and second down, you throw on third with a quarterback that just came in the game. That's another thing too. Chuba just came in the game, right? And we already struggle in the red zone already. And so you want to bring a guy in when we have red zone struggles already. We have receivers struggling, and you want to bring him in on third down, game on the line, and throw the ball. And throw the ball to the side where you have multiple receivers and multiple defenders. Yeah, I find it hard to put that one on Chuba, but I liked what I saw from Chuba. It's just really hard to think about the positives there coming off of a loss like this. It's Maryland. The reason Maryland scared me was because of their explosiveness on offense, right? And we had them, right? We had that explosiveness contained. They had that one drive, two plays essentially, is a drive if you want to call it that. But outside of that, the defense limited them so much. The defense, man, I feel so bad for the defense because they are just playing their hearts out. You saw those guys that were rallying behind each other when Javen Ray got that interception on the sideline. That team was so fired up. And that's when I thought, like, this is it, right? This is it. All right, this is the spark we need. Then we get that fumble. This is the spark we need. Our quarterbacks have no ability to take momentum and use it to their advantage. Every time that the defense gives us a little bit of a spark, those are the plays where those next drives are the ones where Sims comes out and throws an interception, or it's inexplicable at times, and I don't know where to point the finger at this point, because you do have. I mean, I know Sims deserves a lot of heat, because that interception at midfield, let's be honest, that interception at midfield was horrible. If there's this Twitter, and it's I'll pull it up so I can reference it. I like to reference them if I talk about them. So it's about they post like game film and stuff like that, and show little angles and stuff like that. So on that pass to Billy Kemp, it was a deep crossing route, and the view from behind where the receivers were on the defensive side, you can watch Sims, and Sims's eyes are locked right on Billy the whole time. And as soon as Billy comes out of that break, he's throwing him the ball already. But there's 3 defenders there. Now, the reason for a deep cross is you want to confuse the defense, right? You want to get 2 routes deep, right? And then you want to cross them, and then you want to hope somewhere in that those defenders lose their man, go with this man. It frees this guy to be open, right? Bill O'Brien used to do that a lot with the Texans back with Will Fuller and DeAndre Hopkins. But that only works if the quarterback looks at both receivers out of the break and sees, like, this guy's got a step. I'm going to throw it this way. Billy had 3 guys on him, and he overthrew Billy by 5 yards on top of that. That one was egregiously bad. I just don't know. That just shows me right there that his field vision is just non-existent, right? Like, he's able to throw okay over the middle, but anything where the play has to develop over time, and he's looking for specific things where he has to look at multiple spots of the field and multiple reads, it's just not working. It's bad, and it explains why he was never a good passer, right? That's the thing. They wanted him to come in and have a 65% completion percentage. Well, I just don't think he's a very good quarterback. I think we're starting to realize that. And it's hard to say from the way they played today that Chuba gives the best chance to win, but he looked He looked really good in that drive. And again, I talked about it before on these post games that Chuba last year was thrown into a very tough situation, right? Chuba was thrown into a road game. Quarterbacks got hurt. I think it was on the inside the 25-yard line, and I can't remember where he came in at. It's just and him and Smothers last year just got thrown in really, really tough situations. And so coming into the season, I made it a point like for us not to necessarily judge Chuba Purdy off of what we saw last year. So I'm hoping that Chuba might get another opportunity because he showed that he can run, but he also showed that like he has the ability to not only, you know, see the play breakdown and run the field, but he buys some times. He gets that time, gets rid of the ball. He got rid of what, like I'm talking about a one drive sample size, of course. But what I saw in there was, he rolled out, he got rid of the ball when he was under duress. He didn't try to force it. And I'd have to look at that interception back to see what happened there. But again, Satterfield never should have called a pass on that one. It should have been a run. We should have took our 3. We should have got it going. So we know every single one of our QBs are complete garbage. I will say it's the worst QB room I can remember in a long time. And this might have been the biggest fumbling of a QB portal transfer that I can remember, not named maybe Tate Martell, but he also transferred his like 8 other positions. So play calling made no sense. Jeff Sims question. I thought the Jeff Sims question was answered last week when we were talking about the dude shouldn't even or 2 weeks ago when we were talking about he shouldn't even carry a damn helmet on the field unless he's part of the equipment staff. I thought after that last fumble, scoop, and score that he was going to definitely be, behind. Because, I mean, just look at the Anthony Grant treatment. Look what happened to Anthony Grant when he fumbled the ball one time. Yeah, he's been in the doghouse, I feel like, ever since. But Sims still getting these opportunities. So we got to hope when the depth chart comes out, because it wasn't an or. It was an or between Harburg and Sims on the depth chart. It wasn't an or between. So it was like, for those that don't know what or means. So the depth chart has either first, second, and third strings, or it'll have 2 first strings and it'll just have an or. So it said Harburg, Sims with an or, and then Chuba. So they had Chuba behind them. That has to change. Sims has got to be the guy in the back now. I understand Rule loves Jeff Sims, but you got to understand when your experiment has failed, kind of take your losses and move on. This is crazy right here. Absolutely not. No, this is we're not firing Rule, guys. I will say there's an interesting stat here that I saw earlier. I did want to point this out in regards to the turnovers, and it's pretty ridiculous. So we have coming into the game turnover. It says it's pick 6 previews. Most turnovers in FBS, of course. Most turnovers in FBS since 2004. Worst turnover margin in Power 5 since 2004, which is double the second worst team. That is what we are playing with right now. And Matt Rule has managed 5 wins, and for all intents and purposes, should probably be 7 wins. Michigan State, without the penalties, that should have been a win. And this obviously should have been a win. Maryland did not deserve to win this game. Driving the most of the yards, running. Yeah, exactly. Just run the ball. Offensive line was great. And offensive line was even good in pass pro. It's the best our offensive line has looked the whole game, the whole year. And we got 10 points out of it because we're trying to get too cute. I don't know if it's necessarily because they don't want to just run the ball, but at some point, just running the ball is better than throwing interceptions. And the running backs ain't fumbling right now. It's the quarterbacks. So what's up, Jackson? Appreciate you hopping in here as always. Still cursed by the frost era. No. We won't go that crazy. We do feel cursed. That is very true. But it's a new era. Just a lot of bad habits still in this team, and a lot of these guys like Sims and stuff like that came in with turnover issues. He had turnover issues at Georgia Tech. It was, I think Mike Norvell was the one that basically turned him away. So yeah, it's rough. Don't throw the baby out of the bathwater. So yeah, exactly. Come on, man. Rule Look at that stat I just told you about the turnovers, and Rule's got 5 wins on bowl eligibility. Yeah. And another thing that people don't understand too is just like, well, I mean, we understand it, but the injuries, outside of here, the injuries outside of the fans of the team, the injuries are just it's still brutal. Like you still look at the injuries on paper and what we had at the beginning of the season compared to what we have now, and this team is a shell of itself. And we're still very, disappointed. Looking at that grand big picture, we're still significantly disappointed because like we have chances to win these games still. Minnesota, we should have won. Um, Michigan State, we should have won. Maryland, we should have won. And I say should have because we did have chances to win those games and we blew those games. All 3 of them. So who is our 4-string QB? We don't have one on the depth chart. We don't have a 4-string. Yeah. So this is what we got. Daniel Kalen coming in next year. Yeah, it's tough sledding right now, but we got what we got. We got 2 more games to make it through, and we got 2 more tough games to get 1 more win. How hard is it to get 3 points? Apparently very hard. And that's the thing. It's like that was the part where I was talking about with Satterfield. Just got to understand the game script and understand that, like, when points are hard to come by, we're having a tough time getting 3, right? We've had a tough time converting the red zone all season. Why risk it with a pass? Right there. If Chuba's coming into that game, like, let's say Chuba's playing since the second quarter, we're driving down the field and we got a chance there, and Chuba's kind of into the game. That was his first drive, man. And you're having success with the run, and then you want to get down there on 3rd down and you want to throw with him. And again, I don't like that call for Chuba's sake, because now Chuba throws the interception, everybody's looking at him, right? But Satterfield never should have thrown that. He never should have been calling a throw there. It's frustrating. Defense on last Maryland drive tried too hard to knock the ball loose instead of a good tackle, let them get too far down the field. I just have a hard time putting any blame on the defense. I think the defense was just, they knew they had to make something happen. I think they were trying a little too hard, like you said. I don't know how much of that is just frustration and because at a certain point you worry about the defense getting really frustrated with the offense and the fact that, like, we're doing our job, they're not doing their job, right? And that almost, that almost reminds me, like, you kind of see the energy from the 2 units, right? Like, the defense is just full of life, full of energy. They're fired up. They're getting each other fired up, and the offense is just kind of like coming out there and like hoping. They're like, let's see if we can put something together. There's no confidence in this offense at all from them or us. I don't think they believe in themselves right now. I think Emmett Johnson believes in himself. Emmett Johnson runs hard as hell, but I think right now it's just everybody's afraid to be that person that makes the mistake, that everybody's playing and making mistakes. The more you think, the more mistakes you're going to make. You got to play instinctually as a football player. I feel like Harburg was doing really well playing instinctually when he first came in. And then when he started to make mistakes, he started to feel that pressure. And I think now he's back. He's thinking a lot more again. Sims, I don't know what it is. I think Sims, I don't know if Sims' hands work properly. Sims might have nerve damage in his fingers or something, because I don't get it. I don't get how you're a college quarterback on scholarship and throwing like that. I think that we're on the ball more these last 2 games, or will be more. Dude, the thing is with I do think one thing, this will come down to who's the quarterback, first off. Secondly, we should run, but with Satterfield, I don't think we will. I think we'll run, right? But the problem is we're running and running and running. And then when the situation dictates our best percentage, and that scenario is to run, we're throwing. That goal line situation, right? Like, do what got you there, right? Which was running the ball on that drive. I think if Chuba comes in, I think with Chuba in there, we might do a little bit more of designed running back runs, of course. But I do think we'll probably open up the passing game just a little bit more, because he's a little bit more of a passer. And but I think if Harburg and, dare I say, Sims are in there, I think we're gonna be running a lot of, like the QB stuff, and I think that's risky. I just they can't hold on the ball. Harburg, as we should have known he was gonna get banged up because he's been taking hits all season, and you could tell over the course of the season, and I pointed this out in, like, the last 3 post games, but there seemed to be a hesitance when he was, attacking the line of scrimmage. There was a point in the season where he was just going, and he was using his physical frame, and he was just falling forward and plowing through guys. Well, I don't know if y'all have noticed this over the last few weeks where Harburg has been more so, um, it's almost like he just kinda, like, as soon as the play starts collapsing on him, it's almost like he breaks down immediately and just kind of gets into, like, this almost like fetal position, giving up type of thing where he's just kinda, like, sitting down and then they hit him and then he just kinda falls over, right? And I don't know if that's an accrual of just him taking hit after hit. I don't care how big you are. Running the ball 20 plus times a game as a quarterback is gonna wear on you. It really is. And that's why I think almost Chuba Purdy coming in might be a nice little change of pace because we can get into more of these designed running back runs, which is what I think we're missing today. Again, the offensive line between the tackles, running game was there all game, all game. But um, I do think we'll run the ball more just because of who we're playing and how the game's going to go. I think with Iowa and with Wisconsin, I think especially Iowa. I think with Iowa, it's definitely going to be a big dose of the run game because I think the Iowa Nebraska game is going to be just both teams trying to shorten the game as much as possible, and hope yeah, that final score is going to be like 6-3. But yeah, I think that's very much dependent on the opponent. But yeah, Iowa for sure. I definitely think we're going to run a lot against Iowa. I think we should. Satterfield might have other plans. We'll see. If I was on defense, I'd sit out for the rest of the season. That's my big concern. I just don't want like the two units not trusting each other because then we get into an issue like we had with Frost. I feel like with Frost, the locker room, the units, there was a lot of disconnect between all of the units and the players. It just seemed like everybody was kind of an individual person, individual unit. I love the fire and the tenacity from the defense. It's just going to be I don't think the offense, of course, is gonna acquire that in the last 2 games. I think it's just patchwork. Put the best thing that we can together onto the field and hope our defense makes enough plays to win us the game. The problem was before our defense wasn't forcing multiple turnovers. They forced 3 today. 3 and 3 they forced some big turnovers today, like, kept points off the board. It was in every moment you're thinking like, "This is it." Like, it's like, "This is the game that's gonna get us over the hump, right? This is the game we're gonna come in here," going into that 4th quarter, you see the team's fired up, the fans are fired up, and the worst thing that could happen happened. Jeff Sims comes in, turns the ball over, and that was pretty much the game right there. Now looking back on it, because that was the moment. That was the moment to seize the opportunity, and those are the ones that the defense is looking over like, "What are y'all doing?" Like, they just gotta come back on the field, and they gotta do it again and again and again, and, um, and then they'll take some heat like that last one where, he said, like, earlier and this is not calling you out, just in general, like, people then start, talking about the defense, but I feel for those guys, man. I feel for those guys, and hopefully this doesn't, hopefully we keep a lot of those guys. I'm hoping a lot of them see the, big picture. I think a lot of these guys do, though. I think Rule has these guys bought in. I don't necessarily think the defense is looking at the offense too negatively right now. I do think there's some frustration setting in, but, I think this team will stay together. I think this team works well as a unit, and, but portal QB is a, must. If there's ever been a situation where we need to hit on a portal QB, this is easy. We need to get multiple portal QBs. I don't care what it takes. Like Purdy, I don't think being able to get 90 yards the first drive is the first to do it. Exactly. Yeah. What we saw from him was really good. We actually saw quarterback play. That's the thing, though, right? And we saw a guy who was dropping back, and he scanned the field on one, hit him over the middle, was able to get break a big pass play. And then that gets the run game back going. Emmett Johnson had a good run there. we get right there in go on a goal to go situation, and terrible, a couple terrible play calls. Well, we had a run, then the throwaway. And then I'm thinking for sure we're running. And then the pass. Yeah, it was just he put him in a tough spot, but he did move the ball the best, and he actually showed the most quarterback ability, even in on that one drive. Just not even the success of the plays, just seeing how the plays developed and how he, managed those plays. Harburg was hitting like a running back in the first games he played, like 3 games. Take it easy, it got hurt. Yeah, exactly. I think he just started to feel those hits, man. They like I said, I don't care how big you are, those hits will accumulate, and your body doesn't fully recover after a week. It doesn't fully recover in between these games. So you got to think, full recovery's here. He's going into the game. Boom, his body's getting beat up a little bit. He may recover to here, and then boom, his body's getting beat up a little bit more, and it's just that constant punishment. And that was the problem with having an offense where your quarterback can't throw, and all you can do is run the ball. But then you have no choice but then to run the ball with him, because they know that's what's coming, but that's what makes it dynamic. You can't just hand to the running back every play. You need to run with your quarterback. Then when you end in obvious pass situations, this is where we are. That is the problem with having a solely running quarterback. And it worked for a little while, but yeah, like you said, he was hitting, he was lowering his shoulder into people, he was getting up, fired up and stuff like that. And it just that hasn't been there. And today he got hurt. So Harburg looks like he's running scared. He has been. Yeah. And even even behind the line of scrimmage, there was plays in the first 3 weeks where, the line of scrimmage would get bottled up, but he would just hit and attack the hole, and he was able to get 2-3 yards by just hitting the fucking, or I'm sorry, apologize for my French, hitting the hole and just falling forward. 6'5", you can get a couple yards by falling forward. But yeah, right now it seems like he's almost just as soon as the pressure, or as soon as the offensive line gets a little bit of pushback, he was just kind of hunkering down and just giving up on the play. And that changes the whole trajectory, because then we're going from 2nd and 7 to 2nd and 10, and then you get a couple of those. Then you have 3rd and 3 as opposed to 3rd and 10. And these 3rd and longs are just impossible for us to convert. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. It was good to be able to like contain their offense, because I don't care what anybody says. The way they've been playing, I know they haven't been playing well, but that offense is still very dynamic, right? That was the scary part, and the dynamicism wasn't there, and we still lost. Yeah, it's pathetic. It's really bad. Does the defense get to vote for an QB next year? At this point, dude, they better be voting for the starter next week. Honestly. So, I don't expect QB. Expect half of the team to hit the portal. That's the worry. But I'm trusting Rule, and I'm trusting Rule to be able to rally these guys. And I think what goes on in the locker room, I know what goes in the locker room is way different than what we see from our perspective. But it's hard to know. But I think Rule came into this year and kind of told these guys, hey, like, we are going to have a lot of growing pains this year. I don't even think the defense expected to be as good as they are this year, but they are damn good. And Tony White, deserves a lot of credit for that. But I think he hopefully set the expectation coming into the season that here's how this process is going to go. And are those guys with him or not? I hope that he said the right message coming into the season, because that's what he told us. He said, this isn't going to be a 1-year turnaround. This is going to be 2-3+ years, right? So hopefully the players have that in their heads, and he's able to keep reiterating that, because I agree. A lot of these, the kids, they want to go win. They want to, if they're playing well defensively, they want to ensure that it's leading to wins, and they're not just getting torched by the offense. But however, I almost think in a way too that the way the defense has been playing could help us in the portal. So it's a double-edged sword. because, defense playing great, yes, offense playing shit, which is bad because we think guys might hit the portal. However, a lot of guys might want to come play in this defense and understand that Rule is going to be a 2-3 year turnaround. So I don't think the talk in this offseason necessarily is going to be negative about Nebraska and Rule. I think it's going to be a little bit more positive. So that's kind of how I'm trying to look at it. We'll see how the last 2 weeks goes. Of course, that's gonna have a lot to do with it. But I do think a lot of people are going to want to come play for Tony White if Tony White don't end up as a head coach somewhere. That's also scary. When does Nebraska look for a great passing QB, fair running QB, or stick with running first? I think so. I think by the indication of what they said coming into the season that they wanted Sims around 65% completion percentage. I think they want somebody who is, I would say a guy like Chuba, right? Like a guy like Chuba who can come in and he can pass, right? And then run when he needs to. Sims, more of a runner. I would say can pass when he needs to, but he can't. But he, Harburg, of course, a runner. So I do think that when they look for somebody, they're going to be looking for somebody around that guy in the 65% completion percentage range, But I do think that this team really, I just think they want a dynamic quarterback of sorts, and hopefully they find a good enough balance and don't try to go rescue some guy with a 50% completion percentage again. I think that was the issue, is going in and thinking that, like, hey, this guy has played multiple years the Power 5 collegiate level. Let's bring him in, let's refine him, and let's make him into a good passing QB. That's not going to work, clearly. So hopefully that will make them adjust their approach going into the portal and be like, okay, maybe we should have somebody who's kind of already in that range and then can also run the ball. So it's going to be interesting to see who hits the portal. I think that's kind of the big thing, is who will be available. That's the hard part to know, because the portal grows and grows and grows and grows each year. So I don't necessarily think it's going to be slim pickings, but I do think that they need to jump on it, and they need to jump on it quickly, because them quarterbacks go quick. So that needs to be the point of emphasis. I don't want to hear nothing about sticking with Sims or anything like that next year. I think that Rule's got to give up on that one. Rule has pulled all the right strings this year, except the most important decision he had to make, which was quarterback, and he fumbled that bag hard. Next year could have a bad defense. So I think this very much depends, because I think Tony White's scheme is really, really what's helping this defense, right? We didn't have much of a pass rush last year, but the way he's scheming up this 3-5, it is causing a lot of havoc. And it's what it is there's a lot of movement in that defensive backfield and just up on the line and stuff like that. There's so much movement across this defense. It really makes it hard for quarterbacks to figure out kind of what's going on, because you have your Jack and your Rovers that play everywhere. You got Giff, who plays safety, linebacker. He can be down at the line. You got these guys moving all over the field, and that's hard to prepare for. And I think Tony White does a good job of mixing the defensive schemes up so much that he gives a look, they think it's this, but it's actually this, right? There have been moments where, we may, against Michigan State, they were really picking apart whatever defense we decided to call, whether it's man or zone. It seemed like every time we were in zone, they were prepared for it. They found a soft spot in that zone. Every time we were in man, they were prepared for it. So, but this week, it was just schemed up perfectly. And I think Tony White makes this defense significantly better. So I think the defense will be good next year. A lot of talent on this defense, but also Tony White is just a hell of a defensive coach. My 2-year 3 turnaround, just coach the players you have. Well, I think so. Basically, for him, right, he is more of a program builder. So the thing is, he had every intention of coaching the players he has, right? However, there's a point of diminishing returns. You can only take a roster so far. And so I think coming into the season, that was, he in his pressers and stuff like that, he was just reiterating that it's not going to be overnight. He didn't necessarily say 2 or 3 years. Panthers, he had like a 7-year plan, right? So I think that's just kind of how he operates, and he knows that he needs to set realistic expectations and he needs to tell people how it is. And I think he's done that so far, right? He's not coming out and just trying to say like, you know, this, like he wasn't trying to come out and tell us this year we're going to be in the Big Ten championship or we're going to be competing for Big Ten titles. He wanted to let us know that this is going to be a process, and that's how it is in college football. You can't completely turn it around. But those two things aren't mutually exclusive. I think he can also say like, hey, we're going to build. You know, this is a 2-3 year, and when I say 2 or 3 years, I'm talking like competing for the Big Ten titles and stuff like that. But I think he's just being realistic in that, and it doesn't take anything away from this season. He's still going to coach the players as hard as he can, but he does need to. It is important that he sets those expectations and is open and honest with us and the fans and stuff like that. But yeah, to your point, I agree. It sucks looking at the season and being like, well, 2 or 3 years away. That doesn't sound fun, but the improvement this team has made year over year is still there. We point at the issues. If we wrote down the issues that we had last year coming into this year, there would be a laundry list of things, right? And if we marked off what has been improved, we'd be left with what? One thing: turnovers haven't. Everything else I feel like has. The defense, the offensive line has gotten better. Wide receivers, I won't say wide receivers because Trey Palmer went to the draft. That was 1,000 plus of 2,000 of Casey Thompson's passing yards last year. Isaiah Garcia Castaneda out. Marcus Washington, sorry, out. So that's another thing that we got to factor into that. So the wide receiver room is a very young and inexperienced. We'll really see what McGuire has to offer as a wide receiver coach. I know he took a lot of heat because he's so young, but we'll see what he's able to do with this group. This is going to be a real test to see what kind of coach Garrett McGuire is. And we're going to have to attack the portal at wide receiver too, because we don't have experience at the wide receiver position. That's very key, because even when we hit Malachi Coleman in the hands and he dropped it. We had drops last week. It doesn't help when the quarterbacks aren't able to get the guys the ball, and then when they do, we're getting hit with drops. I think Billy Kemp might be the most sure-handed guy we got, and he even had a drop today. New York fan agrees. I don't know what Ryan said. I don't know if I trust New York fans, though. You're right, Jay, but it's about Satterfield. He can't get out of his own way. Yeah, that I agree with 100%. Satterfield really – I feel like Satterfield's just guessing out there right now. And South Carolina fans were very adamant that Satterfield is a problem. And I can definitely see where they're coming from. But again, it's year one. I want to hope that Satterfield is just working with maybe bad person, like the personnel package doesn't fit what he wants to do. But I'm going, well, as long as he's a coach on this team, I'm going to root for the best, and I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt right now. Wouldn't matter. QBs can't throw anyways. Yeah. I mean, honestly, we are better off running 100% of the time at this point. What is there to lose at this point? Yeah. All right. I'm going to throw in a hashtag ad, guys. Sorry, got to throw this in here for y'all. But we are partnered with Ticket Smarter. So if you want any tickets to the big games, any Husker games, you want to go watch the last two, see if we can get bowl eligible, we got a promo code for you, because it's always good to save money. So use promo code BIG for $10 off a purchase of at least $100, or promo code BIG20 for $20 off of a purchase of at least $300 at Ticket Smarter. So shop over at ticketsmarter.com. You can probably save you some of them fees, because that's where they get you usually. Save you some of them fees. Get over there, use the codes, because money is money. So, all right, let's get back into it. And just for those of you who haven't joined the show before, a little bit about myself. My name is Justin Adams. I am the Nebraska postgame host here at The Voice of College Football. I'm also over on Cheesy Corn Sports on YouTube. Cheesy Corn Sports is we talk about fantasy football 2 hours before the games every Sunday. So you can catch us 2 hours before the games tomorrow. We do only fantasy. All right. Get it? Only fantasy on Sundays. And then Fridays, we're implementing Cheesy Corn Sports, where we're just going to talk sports. So if that interests you, get over there and subscribe and join us. But we'll get back into the game here. I don't want to kill you with too much of that. Let's go into the one of the interesting notes here, and I want to see where we ended up as the time of possession, right? Because there was one point where we were winning the time of possession 12 minutes to 22 minutes and losing the game. So time of possession total ended up being, let's see, 28 to 31. So win the time of possession, 269 yards to 384, 5 turnovers to 3. So 31 minutes we controlled the ball and lost the game. That is, it's hard to understand how we can control a game with the time possession, but absolutely have no control over that game at all. At no point did I feel like we had any control over that game. At no point did I feel like we hit any kind of rhythm. And at no point did I think Maryland did. I honestly felt like we wanted this game more, but we wanted it more, and we don't have the ability to. It just seems like the defense has the ability to step up in these big moments, and the offense, whether the moment's small or big, it doesn't matter. It's so frustrating, man. It's so frustrating. Final stats though, Tagovailoa, 27 for 40, 283 yards. I mean, had him pretty bottled up for a majority of the game. And most of those yards, came on that one, or a lot of those yards came on that one drive. Then we got Sims coming in 8 for 13, 62 yards, 2 interceptions. Yikes. Yeah, it was rough. And then Chuba Purdy comes in. Let's see what Chuba's final stats were. So Chuba came in 1 for 3 with that 24 yard and then a pick. Yeah. So the dude comes in one completion, right? You're running the ball the rest of the way, and then you want him to throw on 3rd and down in a 10-10 game with the game on the line. I'm sorry. I find it hard to fault Chubb on that. And then, like we said earlier, your boy Emmett Johnson just had another great game. I think he had he was up to 17 carries this game. He had 12 the week prior, 13 last week, 17 this game. Slowly getting him more and more involved in the game. Special teams, we actually had a non-fair catch this week, which is nice to see. And I think Billy Kemp probably should just stick at receiver. And I'm trying to remember who returned that, but he looked great on that return. I'm drawing a blank on. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm drawing a blank. I should have my game notes, but the one return we actually had, the guy actually looked like a competent return man, because it looked like it was bottled up, and because it seems like the last 2 weeks, everything that they punt to us, we're starting with a 90, 95 yard, 98, 95, 90 yard drive, because we're fair catching or we're letting it go, and the ball is just like, no, I'm just going to chill right here, and doesn't bounce in the end zone. So I don't know if enough people are putting stake into the fact that the special teams and the lack of punt returns has put our offense in that can't move the ball into 90, 95, 98 yard situations, because we're constantly fair catch. I get last week because Billy Kemp was injured, but this week, we got to start. You're running the risk of what? Fumbling on the punt return. What's more risky right now? Fumbling on the punt return or getting your offense out there and fumbling the ball? I just think we need to start taking some of these returns and trying to make something out of them. You got to take every opportunity we can with the ball. I don't care. No fear of failure right now, because everything's turning into turnovers. I don't care what it is, whether it's simple or whether it's complex. So you might as well throw everything at the wall and hope it sticks, because that's what we got to do right now. Right now, just methodically driving down the field is not going to be a thing that happens. Do I think Nebraska will win one of these last two? It's because it lose both to finish the season. Yeah, I do. I think so. Me personally, my biggest 2 weeks ago, I put out kind of my most scary games on the schedule for me, and it was Maryland and Wisconsin. Maryland because of the dynamic offense, and then Wisconsin just because I feel like every Wisconsin running back is guaranteed 250 yards against us, even though they're in an air raid now. We all remember Brayon Allen going 250, and we had to hear about he was 17 years old, but somehow he's 6'4", 230, running all over us. So Wisconsin always scares me for that reason, just because I feel like they're a ticking time bomb waiting for a running back to have his all career day against us. Also, like, Wisconsin's coach, Fickle. I think Wisconsin's a good team, but I do think they're definitely beatable because that air raid really isn't working. It's inconsistent. It's very inconsistent. And I know we're not one to talk about offensive consistency, but we're going to need to find another inconsistent offense. Jeez, I can't talk. I just had a stroke or something. To be able to win. And Iowa's offense is terrible. Yes, but their defense is going to, I don't know how our offense is going to score any points on their defense. So if I had to pick one of the two, I think it'll be Wisconsin that we win. But if I had a choice of which one I prefer to win, I'd prefer to win the Iowa one, of course. Go in the season on a win, get into a bowl game, try to finish on a 2-game win streak. I'd rather it go that way. I'd rather just win out, but hard to think of that with hard to have confidence in that right now. We'll see what Wisconsin looks like today, though. I think Wisconsin's -12 against Northwestern, which I actually like Northwestern +12 there. But yeah, I sure hope Sims doesn't see the field for the rest of the season. Hopefully he'll transfer. Yeah, I don't know what we're going to do with him. I think Rule's in a tough spot. Rule lures him over, right? And I wonder how much we're paying. I wonder how much NIL he's got, first off. Secondly, Rule seems like a really nice guy. Rule seems like he really likes Sims. I just got to really hope that he doesn't bring Sims back next year just because of that. Take that NIL money, throw the bag at somebody. I don't care who it is. Just do it. Tamper if you need to. I'm just kidding. Don't tamper. Don't do that. We want to end up like Michigan. But yeah, just frustrating. Like that's all I could say at the end of this game. I was legit pissed. Like normally, I'm just kind of down, like sad or whatever. It's starting to get back to where I'm just mad again because there's no reason and they have no business losing this game. And it's just starting to feel like last year, the year before, even though it's not. I'm still separating those two. But holy cow, dude, it starts to feel like this team is cursed because every time we drop back in the pocket, I'm nervous. And how are you supposed to ever win a game or feel confident in the team when they can't even drop back to pass? I get nervous when we're in shotgun with Sims out there. Like I'm nervous every single snap that he's on the field. It's rough times right now. Have you ever won at Camp Randall? I'm sure we've won before. I just cannot remember. Hold on, let me see. Now, let's be honest. Last few times we played at Camp Randall, we got screwed. I don't know if y'all remember that Wester camp over the middle pass interference that didn't get called, and then that pass interference right at the goal line on the last play of the game in overtime. They get a little bit of home cooking there at Camp Randall sometimes. Last time, let me see if it'll pull up this quick. No, I'm not sure. I'll look that up though. I'll have to look that up. I'll put it out here. All right. If y'all got any more comments on anything, get it in here. What are y'all's predictions for the last two games? What do y'all think is who y'all think is going to be the quarterback next week? That's a big one. Big shout out though. I did want to give a shout out defensively. Javen Wright, of course, big time. Javen's Chancellor's cousin. So Chancellor Brewington had him on the channel before, played last year. Y'all know him. Javen Wright's his cousin. So shout out to Javen. And then Polar Bear, man, Nash Hutmacher. And then you got Ty Robinson. What a game from those guys. What a game. Nash Hutmacher is just an absolute unit of a human. And I feel really bad for him. I was kind of watching him and Ty on that last drive when they were in field goal range, and they just kind of seemed dejected. That's really frustrating because Ty played his ass off. 1966? Has it really been that long? I guess that makes sense. Probably didn't play him a lot for a long period. Ouch. Yeah, Wisconsin, man. Also, the last memory of our Big Ten championship. Not fun. Not fun. But at least we had that block in that Taylor Martinez run, right? All right, guys. All right. All right, cool. So yeah, just a little housekeeping stuff for those who don't know. The Tuesday live has moved to Thursday, so the live stream is now on Thursdays. I will be back here with the post games per usual every single post game. Hopefully, I'm trying to listen. I'm trying to have happier post games and better days. All right, look, my dog's even sad. Like she's irritated right now, but we'll be we'll be all right. We'll be all right. Let's get these last two games. If we can get bowl eligibility, I think we're all going to be a little bit more relieved. I think right now, being on the fritz of bowl eligibility and right there, getting it against the teams we probably should have beaten, now we're left with two pretty difficult games to get the sixth win. But I think if we get the sixth win, we roll into the bowl game, we can come out of it with a bowl game win. I think we're feeling a lot better. Purdy at QB still going 0-2. Very possible. I do think we need to see Purdy at QB though. I At this point, you have to run him out there. We know what we get from Harburg. Harburg injured. If he's not 100%, he's not play. He can't play. He can't play. If he can't run, he can't play. Can't be Sims, so it's got to be Chuba. I agree, and there is a possibility that we still go in too, but hopefully at least Chuba can show us something. What makes Satterfield think that passing on third and goal, third string QB is the right play call? He's bound close. 100%. 100%. That was the thing. We were running between the tackles that all game our offensive line was getting a push, and especially we had that up the gut run the whole game. And he wants to come out with two terrible play calls in first and second and goal, then come out with a quarterback who's thrown drop back 3 times on one drive with a game on the line, and you want to throw in the red zone where we haven't been able to convert all season, but you think Chubb is just going to go in there and just be able to. Inexplicable. I agree. I'm right there with you, man. I'm right there. The Big Hurt. That's a fitting name because that's what I feel right now. Big Hurt. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate everybody hopping in here as usual. To my regulars, appreciate y'all, man, as always. Thanks everybody who makes this show fun. And let's get it right. We'll go over. We'll break down the next game on Thursday. Join us there. Me, Mark, and Greg will be breaking that game down. See if we have somebody from the Maryland on. And I do plan on introducing some new stuff to the channel eventually. A live call-in show some point during the week and stuff like that. So game plan a lot of stuff with Mark on the back end about stuff that's going to be coming from this channel in the future. Very excited. Stuff I'm going to add to the post game. So y'all be on the lookout for that. Get over to Mark Rogers' main channel, the Voice of College Football, if you want just college football all the time. He's got call-in shows running there all the time and stuff too. So yep. Anyways, everybody, let's have a good of a day as we can with the rest of our day. If y'all watch the rest of the games, have fun doing that. If not, and you're like me and you're just sad and don't want to watch any college football, I'll probably still watch. But yeah, hope everybody has a great rest of the weekend, great rest of your day. I will see y'all next week, and I'll see y'all next weekend after a Husker win. I'm going to speak into existence. Chuba Purdy, we're going to win. All right, I got it. So I'm just going to go ahead and just say 24-21. All right. Let's do it. All right, guys. Peace out. Appreciate y'all joining me. Later.